Imagine a world where war zones release as much carbon as entire nations, where the air you breathe could decide how much you pay for healthcare, and where corporations and investors make bets based on the fate of the environment. Well, that world isn't in the future, it is here, right now. I am your host, Lavanya, and this is The Climate Brief, where we uncover the most pressing climate stories shaping our world. Over the next few minutes, we'll uncover how the Russia-Ukraine war zone's emissions are choking the planet, how toxic air may make health insurance more expensive in Delhi, and how climate change has made it to the tools Wall Street depends on. Each of these stories paints a stark picture of our planet's future. Well, let's dive in. When we think of war, we picture bombs, bullets, lives lost. We think of cities reduced to rubble and economies shattered. But what if we told you that war is also waging a silent assault on the environment? Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine began on February 24, 2022. Now, 3 years later, a new study has revealed a staggering truth. The war and its aftermath have been responsible for nearly 230 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions. To put that into perspective, that is the same as the combined annual emissions of Austria, Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia. But where is all this carbon coming from? Well, 36% of it is directly from warfare. Tanks, warplanes, fortification construction, and exploding ordnance. Another 27% comes from rebuilding what's been destroyed. Damaged buildings, shattered infrastructure, and the third biggest contributor, wildfires. Nearly 46 million tons of greenhouse gases have been released from the war-driven landscape fires alone. Climate change and war together have created the perfect conditions for disaster. The summer of 2024 was drier than usual in Ukraine. But these dry conditions acted as fuel for fires sparked by the ongoing conflict. In just 1 year, 92,100 hectares of Ukrainian forests went up in flames. That's 20 to 25 times more than Ukraine's pre-war average. And here's the kicker. Most of these fires weren't random. They happened near the front lines and in the border areas where battles raged on. But how exactly does war lead to more fires? Explosions, shelling, and missile strikes can ignite vegetation instantly. In peacetime, firefighters would rush to contain them. But in a war zone, sending in emergency crews isn't just difficult, it's deadly. So these fires spread, uncontrolled, growing larger, more intense, and more destructive. These aren't just any wildfires. They are destroying Ukraine's carbon sinks, forests that have stored carbon for centuries. And rebuilding them? That could take anywhere from 40 to 60 years. And that is if they ever recover at all. Now let's talk about something that's not as visible as war. Imagine living in a city where breathing feels like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. That's the grim reality for millions in Delhi every winter. And now, health insurers may want residents to pay for it. Literally. In 2024, the national capital recorded some of its worst pollution levels, with the Air Quality Index, or AQI, soaring past 800 on several days. While official government data caps the season's worst reading at 491, independent monitors recorded AQI levels crossing 1,000 in some areas, which is 10 times the WHO's threshold for healthy air. In the past 2 years, Delhi has seen an 8.3% rise in respiratory-related health claims. Cases of asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD, and heart disease have increased significantly. Despite efforts to improve air, Delhi still struggles with pollution. Surprisingly, in 2024, Delhi recorded 209 days of good to moderate air quality. February, December, and August recorded their best average AQI since 2018, excluding the COVID years, while March and April ranked second best. Yet, insurers now want a 10 to 15% hike in health premium. The plans are currently under discussion and would require approval from the insurance regulator before being implemented. If given the green light, this would mark the first time in India that air pollution is directly tied to health insurance pricing. For many, health insurance is already a luxury. If premiums rise, it could become unaffordable for those who need it most. So if war and pollution can both destabilize lives and economies, how are businesses preparing for the financial risks of climate change? What if climate change could decide where your money goes? USA's finance media giant Bloomberg has launched Mars Climate, a tool designed to help investors evaluate the financial impact of climate change on their portfolios. Mars Climate will let financial firms forecast risks from physical disasters. The tool follows the Network for Greening the Financial System (NGFS) framework, meaning it aligns with global climate risk assessments. Mars Climate analyzes how companies might fare under various climate scenarios. It will project a company's revenue risk and opportunities, combining companies' activities, supply chain exposure, and regional footprint under different climate scenarios. For example, an agricultural company could face revenue risks if the place it's sourcing its raw materials from is under threat of a drought. Climate change isn't just an environmental problem anymore, it has economic implications as well. Global economic losses from natural disasters doubled over the past 2 decades, hitting $280 billion in 2023. As a consequence, regulators and central banks across the globe are increasingly asking financial firms to evaluate their exposure to climate risks. We've seen just in today's episode how war can unleash carbon catastrophes and how pollution can make even the air a financial liability. It's no surprise then that investors are scrambling to navigate the climate-driven economic shifts. And yet, despite all the warning signs, meaningful action remains slow. The question is no longer whether climate change will impact us. It's how much worse we're willing to let it get before we act. So, what now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more such deep dives into the climate crisis. This has been the Climate Brief. Stay informed, stay aware, and we will see you next time.